Hi, I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where I break down all the goals. Today we're doing the Carabao Cup, and Chelsea versus Liverpool. I'm going to have a bit of a rant about Chelsea before we start, just so I can get it off my chest and feel better than get into some of the highlights. I normally just cover the goals, but I'm going to give you some more coaching points. People have been asking them more and more, so when I see them in the highlights, I'm going to break them down a little bit more for you, so you can better understand what's going on with my over 20 plus years of coaching experience. I can help you maybe understand some stuff that you already know, or articulate it in a way that you can now articulate it to your players or your teammates, whatever you want to do. But let's just go on about Chelsea, because they're awful. And Pochettino's awful, like genuinely awful. Now, if I'm in charge of Chelsea, would I be sacking Pochettino right now? No, I'd be waiting to the end of the season. There's a couple of factors there that I'm really involved in. Now, you've got to understand the Chelsea project. I was hearing one idiot, what's his name, on one of these, Chelsea fan channels. Oh, Chelsea have won a trophy every 2 years, and Rory Jenkins, that's the idiot's name, every 2 years, and now they should win it again because now they haven't won a trophy in 2. Yeah, 2 years ago, Newcastle United weren't the richest club in the Premier League, the world, let alone the Premier League. The world changes every couple of years, and there's a flux of players. So think of it this way: there's only a certain amount of talent that there is available, and what Chelsea's decided to do is buy all that talent up in the younger age groups. When I mean younger, under the age of 24, they've bet on world-class talent, like Caicedo, Lavier, loads of different people, Gusto, loads of players, and gone, right, we're going to buy all the young talent, so in 4 years' time, we're going to have all the best players in the world, but we've just got to get there. We've got to get to that period where all these players, with no experience, is there. Right, that's the plan. Great. That means we're going to sacrifice short-term winning for a good domination of about 10 years running again. That's what they're trying to do. They've made a couple of key errors and mistakes again, and this is where it comes down to really not understanding how to build a team. And I'll be honest with you, not many coaches know how to build a team. They can go out and coach a game, but when you're trying to build a team through the years, the successions, it's very difficult because people just don't understand it fundamentally. The courses out there, they don't really cover this properly. So when you're bringing in that many young players, you've got players like Koulibaly, who they sold to the Saudi League. Can't do that. Can't say, don't care if he's injured, needs to be there with you. Sold to the Saudi League. You can't get rid of those old heads, because that's the things that you need in games like this that would get you over the edge. And not only that, they help the young people and their experience and their confidence. Anytime they've got a mistake or what's going on, they look to the cooler, wiser head and they go, mate, don't worry, we got this because of A, B and C. I've seen this before. And you trust them because you know they've seen it, they've done it. Kante's won the Prem, he's done all sorts, they've won Champions Leagues, they've been there with Chelsea when they won the Champions League. You know that. You're comfortable with it. The other big mistake that Chelsea have gone and done is this long-term contracts. And this is the other thing that people don't understand, again, because they're not really football people. Yes, I'm talking about Gary Neville and all these. They're not really football people. They're just muppets. Genuinely, they are people that would be working down at your local Tesco's if they weren't good at playing a game of football. They don't have any IQ or intellectual capacity to think about anything. So the problem that Chelsea have now got as well, because they've done their due diligence on the players, bearing in mind Arsenal wanted Mudryk, as bad as Mudryk is, but other clubs that all wanted these players that they've bought. So they snapped them up without really understanding the full plan ahead. They're just thinking, Poch knows what he's doing, he's going to fix it. Or whichever, I think it was Tuchel at the time, they're going to fix it. No, it doesn't work like that, mate. That's not how you build a team. That's not the manager that you need. So when they've bought all these players in, they've put them on these long-term contracts. Well, that doesn't work. So think of it this way. If they say Caicedo tomorrow, right, and they sell him for 100 million quid, they only get 20 million quid, right? Because of the way they've structured the deal. And they'll get 20 million quid again the next year, 20 million quid again the next year, and 20 million quid again the next year. So if they've got right now, when they've got to hit 68 million, they're over a financial fair play. So they need to sell a player for 68 million. Well, they can't sell any of their players that they've currently bought and get more than maybe 12 million to 20 million, because the deal is structured over 5 years. And the way it's structured is they can't pay themselves that money. So all it'll do is sit there in escrow and they'll slowly get dripped in the money over the years, because that's how it works on the financial fair play. They can't. So they have to sell a player like a Gallagher who they can get the full price for, 50 million. They can take that, and that goes to their profit margin now. And most of these guys don't even understand this, of how the deals are structured and how the actual payments are going to drop in. And they're just talking like, you got to sell this guy or that guy. Well, you can't. You can't sell any of them because it doesn't make any difference to the financial fair play. So they are really put themselves behind the 8 ball. Now, it doesn't mean they can't get out of it. The only real problem they've done is that they've picked the wrong managers. And I think Graham Potter was was it Potter, the guy from Brighton? I don't think it was Potter, actually. I can't remember his name. He was actually the guy for the job, and they got rid of him too early because he could sit there, take his time, and build and build. Poch isn't that guy anymore, and I'll tell you why. And this goes on to my next part of the rant of why Pochettino isn't good enough. I'm not saying Pochettino out, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but Pochettino needs to go. So when you're a new coach, and I've been there, and you're building your first team like he was at Southampton or at Spurs, all your energy goes into it. You love it. You can't wait to get in the morning. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And everyone loves you because you're winning games and you're doing great and everyone's great because you've got so much enthusiasm. Then what happens? Football happens. I can remember when, where was I? I got fired from one coaching job somewhere, and one of the guys who I always thought didn't like me phoned me up immediately, and he told me, we sat on the phone for 4 hours talking, and he was like, yeah, do you understand? They don't care about you. You're a manager. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I just figured that out. I put my heart and soul into this team and they couldn't care. Like, yeah. Like I've been telling you for years, they will just fire you. They do not care. And all of a sudden you get jaded with football. You get burnt out with football. That's what Klopp's going through now. He's getting burnt out with football because they do not care. They don't care how many trophies you've won them. They don't care what you've done. They just care about the result of the last game. That's it. Nothing else matters. They can't see long term of what you're trying to build. They're not interested. They just see the results of the last game. And with Pochettino, he's now at the stage of his career where he was coaching at Paris Saint-Germain. He just wants the team ready to go, and he just has to coach and tweak some bits, change a couple of players. He doesn't have the energy for a full project like this. This is a full rebuild, and he doesn't have the energy for it. He doesn't have the time. You can see it. You can look at his face. You can see he just, so in the past, he was so animated on the sideline. He's not that way anymore. And he just doesn't want to, you can tell he doesn't want to be there. Well, he might want to be there, but he doesn't have the energy to just fix everything and recoach everybody. He wanted a base, a foundation, a couple of things that that he could have solidly in place. And he has none of that because Chelsea have gutted their football club. For the idea of a project, it's a sound idea, but they don't have a young, tenacious, youthful manager that really wants to stamp his mark on the world, and that's what they need. Without that, they are gonna go nowhere. After that long rant, let's get into the game and tell you what I'm seeing right here in front of me. Right, so right now we've got this little left back here, but why I want to show you this, you can see the umbrella and you can see the exposure right there because he's run off and he's pushed off too far in midfield. And now you can see that the only guy to come back could be this guy here, but he's never going to get there because this guy could just have the ball ping straight to him straight away. So as he comes in here, look, Dorsch doesn't win the ball and they're exploited immediately. This is a similar situation that Manchester City try to do, except for they don't expose the guy here. They try to pull him wide here and use that gap there. You can see these massive gaps that Liverpool are leaving because they're trying to put pressure on the other team and they just previously had the ball. But you can see when you overstep your mark, how important that is, that you can't do that if the defender is too high as well. Look at the gap between the defender and the centre-back. That's just too much. So if there is an exposure, if there is a mistake, one of these guys need to come and cover. They can't because they're too far forward with this guy as well. So one of the other things I talk about to other coaches when they're trying to learn how to coach, I give them those little puzzles. You know those ones with the pictures on, and you've got to move them around to find the extra space, and you put all the puzzle together by making the little extra, moving it into one space. But you make one mistake and all of it goes wrong, and your picture piece, it's really, really hard to get back again. So this is what's happened here. They've made one mistake, Liverpool, and now, of course, their overrated Van Dijk is coming over to cover. He isn't coming over to cover. He's just stayed still and has made another massive space here. So they've moved to two massive spaces because one player's gone forward. If the other centre-back had come over and he had come over as well, okay, fine. They might have covered a little bit better. But look at the exposure. Look how far high the right back is as well. So you can see one little mistake and they're all slowly getting pulled out of shape very, very quickly. You can see it, right? Boom, boom, boom. Now, he's not coming over quick enough to cover. He really should be there touch tight. I get what he's doing. So he's doing that thing, all right, where he's trusting his pace and thinking that the striker's poor. So what he's really doing is, right, okay, if you pass that ball into him, I'm going to nick the ball before he gets to touch it. because I want to trust my pace. You're baiting the challenge. You're baiting the passing. I don't want you to do that, mate. I want you to stand on him so he doesn't do the pass in the first place and he has to do something different. That's what he's doing. Now we're moved it on a little bit and we're going touch tight right here. So now he's got touch tight because he's inside the box. He's recognised that. Perfect. And he's laying this pass off. Now this wee chap coming onto the ball here, it's Raheem Sterling. There's a reason why Man City let him go. It's because he's not good enough anymore. And I'll tell you why he's not good enough. Is to watch this little play here. If this is Raheem Sterling 3 years ago, this is a first touch. His finish isn't that great, it never has been, but at least he's getting a shot on target. His first touch is awful, and then he loses the ball. Watch. All you need to do now is hit that ball. Boom, come in, strike it. Doesn't. Tries to stop it, do whatever. All he has to do is hit that ball first time. Bang. That's it. Doesn't recognise the situation, doesn't understand it. When that ball comes across, that goes into the bottom corner. What are you taking a touch for? What are you doing? It's just terrible forward play. That's where Chelsea should have been 1-0 up. Right there. Bang. In the corner. Simple. Great cross. Exposed the space on the back because their left back, Liverpool's left back has gone too far forward and Sterling should have got a goal. Terrible. Let's get on to the next bit. I want to go over this non-goal from the VAR that's clearly a goal, and if you don't think there is corruption and it's just incompetence, you're delusional. This is corruption and not incompetence. Let me show you why in 5 seconds. As soon as you see that image, you go, okay, so here's the offending parties right there. What do we see? We see, can I zoom in? Oh, let's just get that right. Cash is just booming it right up. What we're looking at here is we're looking at the Chelsea's players and arms are around the Liverpool players. So the Chelsea player's holding the Liverpool player. So how is the Liverpool player holding the Chelsea player? You can see his arms are around him. And the next thing you're looking at is where's the point of contact? Well, the point of contact for the header's over here. And they're there. You go, oh, but he may have run around here, done a flying bicycle kick and put the ball out for a goal kick. Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, but what we do know is that incident is, 6 yards away from the ball? Maybe 7 yards away? Yeah, so it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant because if you're trying to make subjective opinions about things that could or could not have happened based on random outcomes, you're talking nonsense. Now, here's the other thing. This guy stood still. He's allowed to stand still. If you run into him when he stood still, it's your fault for running into him. His job is not to get out of the way of you as the defender. If he's onside or offside, it doesn't matter. Your job is to go around him. He's not running. Now, if he runs and blocks you, if he walks into you, whoa, then yeah. So does he do that? Let's look at that point. So this is what we're going to look at. This is the guy here standing offside, but does he move his feet in a direction to block the run, or does he just stand and hold his ground? Let's look as he moves. Can't really see there, but he's stood in the exact same position. As you can see, the Chelsea player still got his arms wrapped around him. The Chelsea player's hugging the Liverpool player. Yeah, so is it really? No, it's not. No way, and on this earth is that should be called as interfering with play, because the player's 7 yards away. This guy's got all the opportunity to run around him, and he doesn't. He runs in, holds him, and hugs him. It's not his responsibility to get out of the way of the defender. But let's look and see if I can find another angle to show him that he doesn't step in front of the player, and all he does is stand there. Here we go. This is the angle we're looking at. He's looking there. He can see everything that's going on. Yeah, his eyes are looking at the guy, but his responsibility is not to get out of the way of this guy. By the way, this is more poor defending from Chelsea, which I'm going to come on to on the actual goal. Oh my God, do they not know how to have their body shape set up for defending? Look at them. 1, 2, 3, 4. All wrong. Oh God, it's terrible. Right, I'll come on to that in a minute. He stood there. Does he move into him? No, he puts his shoulder and braces him. He doesn't move his feet into him. No, he does brace him. And the guy wraps his arms around him. Wraps his arm around and hold him. He does put his shoulder into there to charge him. But he's not really moving his feet and blocking his run. He could have run around him. He could have run around him. They all chose not to. Never, never, never should that be taken back. Now, here's the other problem with that. Because under VAR protocol, which is all the rubbish that they talk about, is it clear and obvious? No. So it's not... What's VAR looking at it? There was another goal they're looking at. There's something to do with United. It was a Casemiro. If I wasn't clear and obvious. No, but now it's they're looking for reasons to send people off and looking for reasons to get rid of goals. You're not looking for reasons. You're looking to identify clear and obvious errors. Or now we're lying about that. Yeah, of course we are. Of course we're lying because it's corruption. It's not incompetence. It depends on the teams. It depends on who's in the... Like, it really does. You can tell straight away if you're going to get the VAR decision or not, which is awful in football now. Like, if you're Wolves, you're never getting them. I think Wolves are the worst club being hit by VAR decisions than anyone else. I think they've had 3 clear Stonewall penalties this season that they haven't been given. It's awful for Wolves. You know, what do you do if you're Wolves? But it's getting worse. It's getting more obvious, and they need to do something about it. Whoever their set piece coach is or defensive coach, I'd be firing him immediately in the morning. I want you to look at this, right? Can you see where their shoulders are? And that's their head. Shoulders facing that way. Shoulders facing that way. Shoulders facing that way. Shoulders facing that way. He's a little bit different. He can change his because he's near the back. Not so bad, but we're still going to give you an X. Here's the problem. Your shoulders need to be facing at most there and that way. Why? You need to see that ball and the player you're marking. None of these players can see anything that's going on behind them here. Not one of these 4 players have any clue about what's going on behind them because they're not looking at it. If you defend like this, you're going to see goal after goal every single weekend. If you want to become a decent defender or a defensive coach, it's simple. Can you see the ball? Yeah. Can you see the player? No. Then change your body shape. You need to change your body shape. That shoulder needs to be back. 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 Actually, I'd do it slightly different for him because he's a little bit more, forward. But if you're defending when you're just looking and staring at the ball, you're going to get beat by the runner. You're going to get beat on your blind side, and that's exactly what happens here when this ball comes in. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 completely and utterly terrible defensive shapes. Not only that, you're flat-footed. You can only attack the space in front of you that you can see, right? Unless you can jump backwards and somehow get a good header on the ball. No, you're going to get a flick on the ball if you're jumping backwards. So your forwards is the area that you can attack. They're the only areas that he can attack. How many Liverpool players are there for them to go and attack? None. So they want to be flat with their shoulders. Let's get that tool up. Flat. So they can attack the space there. So if he's flat, shoulders, he can see this happening. He can match the run. He can get there. He can't because he stood facing the ball the whole time. And all of a sudden, as soon as all this breaks free, when this ball starts coming in, they cannot react. 1, 2, 3, 4 cannot react. And he can. Simply runs and beats Modric on the front post, taps the header in. Now here's the other issue. You're going to go, but he's going to beat Modric in the air. Yeah, I know, but that's not what he needs to be doing. And again, that's a lack of understanding of football. He doesn't need to beat Virgil van Dijk for the header. What he needs to be able to do is see the run, check Virgil's run with his shoulder or any way possible, or a bit of strength, anything. Just put him off as much as he can so he doesn't get a simple, clear header into the far corner. He doesn't even know Virgil van Dijk's coming. He can't even, jump into his shoulder or challenge him in any way because he doesn't even know he's there. That's why Chelsea lost the cup final against Liverpool under-14s. Awful Chelsea. Do better. I'll see you next time and Cash yells at Chelsea.